Good morning, Matt.
How's it going?
Well, it's going. It's not seeing anything that I want to take this morning.
No.
It's just the Euro US broke out, but it only gave a little whipsaw. It went up about 6 pips and turned right around again. You may have gotten 7 pips out of it, depending on how you entered it.
Yeah, that's
But
not
right now, it's
enough.
right back in the wedge. The Aussie US, we had an alert with that one, and that one's pretty much same type of scenario, I guess. It kind of popped his nose outside of a range box from Friday's range and went right back in again. So nothing too exciting today. I think this could be the next couple of weeks could be rather low volatility. I mean, there'll probably still be some pips to be able to get but we'll see. So how was your weekend?
Really good. Thank you.
There's Christine just came in. Let's get her over. Move her over.
Yeah. I think she has caps lock stuck on.
So what?
I think she has caps lock stuck on.
Caps log.
I
What's caps
do
log?
because
Oh,
I just love watching you guys. So I wanted me to get really like wow.
she's was
Oh,
she just
okay.
wants
I'm
to.
so
She knows
excited.
what she basically she just what she's really saying is, I know you guys don't see me when I come in, so I'm gonna make it big, and maybe you'll take notice.
No, what I'm saying is I usually don't have my contacts in and I can't read the
Uh,
read what I write. That's what happens when you get
Oh.
old, Matt. You're not there yet.
Okay.
You're not there yet, Matt.
No, not yet.
Al, how is your eyesight doing?
well, I got my prisms in my one lens, so actually I can start driving again.
Wonderful.
I was actually out playing some tennis yesterday. We had a nice day here, so I was actually out, and it's still a little bit. I mean, basically, it's kind of back to normal. Although I know it's not normal, which kind of still concerns me. But
Hmm.
I go back in another 3 weeks. I guess I'll go back in for another follow up, and I'm hoping that maybe it'll just eventually correct itself. But we'll see. Right now, the
Hmm.
prisms are at least I can drive again. So
Yeah, and that's great
okay.
that you were able to play tennis because that
Yeah, I'm
means
kind
you
of
could see the ball.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's
It's great.
yeah, and it was like I mean, just go out there just hitting. I didn't really play a match or anything. Just going out there
Oh,
and getting
sure.
back into getting a little bit of exercise. So
Yeah, it was
it's
gorgeous here too. It was like
all good and good.
62.
Yeah, it's rainy down here today. We're rainy and
Oh,
looking
today's
talking
here.
about some snow and slush later on in the week. So that's a possibility.
Yeah,
So
here too.
we may start seeing some winter time here. So
Yeah, yeah,
well, let's
yeah.
go ahead and get
Oh
started
yeah, it's
here.
8 o'clock on the
And
nose.
the looks like the gang's all coming in here, and so let's turn the recording on, and we shall get started. And we go. Pause recording, and we go. Here we go.
Yeah, you're recording.
Okay, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hawkeye session. This is Monday, December 14th, and we're going to go on to about 9:30 this morning. And we get the disclaimers out of the way. And if, as we're doing this, you want to take a look at the Euro US and the Aussie US trades, we have some alerts on that. We'll take a look at that and see what we have. And trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. And before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And with that, let's go over to the charts. Let's take a look at the, which one do we look for? Let's just take a look at the Euro US, since that one seems to be more in play right now. We had an alert at, let's see, I gotta change my screen here. And we got new sharing. Here we go. And boom. Okay, so right now we had an alert at 7 o'clock. We had a ascending wedge. So I draw my triangle from low to high on the bottom and find out where, and try and connect the tops. And we have our wedge. This is on our, I drew this on the 15-minute, I'm on the 5-minute chart right now. And you can see that this was basically the candle that was a range where the wedge alert came in. We did get a breakout, 5-minute candle breakout. We had 2 candles. It broke out, came back, tested our little box here, went back up again, and now it's coming right back in and testing the wedge, and it's looking like it's trying to break out one more time. If you want to take this trade, it's a viable trade. It did stay, if it comes back out of the wedge and gives us our, I like to see it close with a 5-minute candle outside the wedge, come back, maybe retest it. But right now we're looking at, this is the bottom trend. This is so it is kind of forming a channel. Let me unlock this here. We're going to unlock this, and then it is sort of forming a channel where you have higher highs and higher lows, and we'll see if it breaks out. You do have possibility of a little bit of a target from, if this candle closes, we do have 8 pips to the top of where this candle, if it does start trending, it should be, you may be able to get your 5 pips out of this thing. And let me draw an upper channel trend line from here to here. That's the upper channel. We have that trend, and then we also have this bottom channel here. We're looking where these 2 trend lines are connected. We have an anchor. Here's a hit. And we have our wedge. So we'll take a look. We do have we did come up here where it had a strong rejection right there at the 75, came back down, and it's making a little bit of a higher low on the RSIs. We do have the cross of the RSI. We have the candle closed outside the wedge. We could possibly take this trade. It's a little, I'd say it's a little bit risky with the fact that it came back in, but it is sort of trending up to the upside here a little bit. And let me see if things confirm on the other. It does have some upward push to it. I think I'd be okay taking this trade. And we're going to go with a...
For Euro US?
For the Euro US. Stop, and we're going to put it right up here if we can at 2165. We can get in there 2160. I'm going to go with 2165. I'm going to see it break the top of this red candle here. A buy stop 2165, 7 pips, 10 pips. And our target would be our 7 pips, which is going to be right here at the top of the upper wedge. I'm not in the trade yet. If it comes back through and if it can close above this red candle, we might have an opportunity. The fact strong move out, came back into the wedge, makes me a little suspicious that this was a head fake. So I'm going to try and keep myself out of harm's way by this red candle. And we'll just see if it comes back and breaks out of the bottom, then we may be able to take it short, and then we'll be looking for a target down here, right around this this line, this little pivot area down here. Any comments, questions? What do you think? What are your thoughts, Matt?
Well, I'm just actually going through all the currency pairs looking for setups as we speak. So myself, I don't have an appetite for this one here. This one, I don't know, just something about the overall structure. It's just, I don't know what it is inside. I just don't know what it is inside. Let me see.
I do like having this. This is a strong move up. This was the challenge of this trend line. We'll move this one up to where the C is. I'll kind of tighten this box up a little bit.
I was gonna ask you that, like, was there a reason initially that you didn't use that trend line, but then you all of a
Um,
sudden you started moving it?
yeah, I mean, yeah, basically the reason why I didn't move, I just wanted to try and find a wedge that was close enough to the alert to try and catch these little moves here. And that's one reason why I kind of drew this box.
Okay.
We have this little range, right? This little candle right before the alert, which you
Hmm.
can see was actually kind of almost like a doji. It the high and low close about the same, right where the high and low was. So that,
Right.
and then we had the breakout. So this is really the candle, which I would say is in control of this move to see if it's where the prices are going to, where it's going to come.
You mean the green one, correct? The one right
Yeah,
before the
the screen one,
okay,
right
yes,
before
okay.
the alert. That
Hmm.
was the candle that gave us that generated the alert.
Okay.
Um, and it was
Right.
a ascending. So basically, actually, you can move this over here a little bit, tweak this in a little bit closer here,
Hmm.
and you can see where like right now it came back. So this is actually really where the wedge is. Um, and
Beyond it, you
this
mean?
pullback, it pulled out of the wedge, came back in, retested this bottom trend line, and so right now it's just making higher highs, higher lows, but it's inside this channel. So I would say probably the safer bet would actually be to try and take it long down here with the stop down below. Um, but you know, right with the RSIs being right in the middle, I'm not seeing a lot of volatility to this. So I mean, this would be a very aggressive. The fact it came back into the wedge, came back out, it did close above, but now it's right back into the wedge again. So with the fact it's doing that type of an, it's sort of basing inside here. We have the channel, the retest, the retest. If it comes back down and retests, and if it can break through the bottom of this, then I say maybe we try taking a short and go for this area right down in here. So like from this point, from this from there to say the break of the wedge, that's 12, 14 pips. I kind of like that as a possible target. And as we're looking at this, basically it is trending to the upside, but you can see where if you look at the higher time frames, you're not really seeing a lot of range. It's somewhat range bound. It's really range bound from where the uh, Friday high and low was. It's really retesting the Friday's high. Kind of poked its nose up in there. So it's not a it's not a real strong move either way. And it's sort of like you're just kind of rolling the dice on this one. I wouldn't say it's a real high probability trade. The
The
high
only
probability.
thing I like about it is the 513.62 cross a couple swings earlier.
All right, so I need to get this.
You
Oh,
had
look
it.
down here on this one
Yeah,
down.
go down a little bit. You'll see how there's a gap there.
513.62.
That's pretty much
Oh,
the
right here. This one
only
here.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What time was this? This was Sunday. This is the Sunday's
Market
open.
open.
The market open on Sunday.
Market open went crazy. People got really scared.
You have a wider gap, spacing, I should say is a better word, after the alert with the 5 and 13, which kind of called my attention. Like it's been getting wider since where you started your trend line, Al.
Over here.
Yeah, like you see how like close it is
Oh
there,
yeah.
and then as we
These are
were
getting
going,
these are getting a little bit wider. Yeah.
yeah, the 5 and 13.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Right,
kind of
right in
looking
here.
at.
This area right in here.
And
Yeah, and
then
actually we had the little 5 came down and hooked, didn't cross the 13.
exactly.
Coming down, it's testing the 13. We still have um, the 5 is still hanging above so basically it's still showing upward. The
Bias.
62 is pointing up, the 13 is pointing up, and the 5 hasn't been able to cross over. Now, if we look on our 1 minute chart, which brings up another point, you look at the 1 minute chart, do we have the 513 cross? We
Oh
do
yeah.
on the 1 minute, and we did get, so it's all consolidating right here. But again, we could expect that on a pullback.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check our RCS tool. And if we look at the RC, see how strong it is, we got the euro's still strong. to the U.S. So that'd be looking favoring the upside. Here we have the flip where now the U.S. is starting to give up the take over control, and the U.S. is taking over control. So basically, we're having a little bit of a battle going on between the euro and the U.S. dollar. The euro is still showing strength on the 15, but on the 5 minute, it's looking like it's starting to lose some strength. We do have the crossover here on the 5. We have the crossover here on the 1. Which should give some rise to the fact that maybe the dollar is starting to gain a little bit of strength, but not quite yet because we're still showing euro strength on this. As this was if we look at the 5 minute, the euro was strong overnight, which as you can see when the European market was open, came back down to the bottom. The U.S. dollar was weak. We had the crossover, weak, still maintaining strength, but now they're both kind of fighting right here in the middle of so not as strong. It's not real convincing that it's going to break up for very high. So, and at the top of the way, if I were to get into this trade here, you can see we're only going to have pretty much the target is going to be right about where at the top of the channel, and that's about as much as I would give it. We do have a 15-minute blue line, which is here, which is you're seeing this coming back and retesting this 15-minute area. It came back up. Right now we're looking at it. This is the 2-minute, and here's the 5-minute. I would say here's your 21 pip range, and right now I'm looking at getting in here at the bottom third and maybe getting here at the beginning of the top third. And that's about as much as I would want to give this one a chance to develop. We are in some of an upward channel. We are looking at a pullback, and it's also a retest of the 15-minute fib line. Again, a lot of times I prefer to try and take it on the pullback rather than on the breakout.
It's higher probability as well when you take it, and you also get a better fill when you take it on the pullback.
Yeah.
Significantly. You can almost double your profits by taking it on the pullback. The only challenge with taking it on the pullback is sometimes it doesn't pull back.
Right.
But if you're willing to accept that, it is a better entry overall.
Yeah.
Just less trades.
Exactly. And the other thing is a lot of times, and I still find these pullbacks oftentimes are nothing more than head fakes, as this one could very well turn out to be a head fake to the upside. Because you figure if you came up, you got in, say right here, you got up, you didn't quite get your profit, came back, put you back into the wedge. Now you're sitting here with a +5, -5, +5, -5, and you could possibly, until you get your spread out of there, you're really taking, okay, this did just get me into the trade. I'm not going to give this thing a lot of room. I'm going to give it to pretty much the bottom of the, I'm going to put it right here at the bottom of this red candle wick where it broke the 15 but couldn't hold it. So I'm going to keep my stop down there. If it breaks through there, then I'd be looking to take it short. But right now I'm in this trade. We do have strength to the upside, and I think there's a potential of a decent trade. I like the fact that I got in pretty much in the middle of the channel. I would have rather been getting in down here, but I didn't. This is more of a breakout of the wedge area, because here was our wedge, here was our alert, but it's also developed a channel for us. We do have the cross of the 15-minute 3 and 8 RSI. Same way over on the 5-minute, same way over here on the 1-minute chart. Let's go to our 5-minute chart and we'll take a look and see what it looks like over here. If it comes up and can't close above this red candle, I'll probably just exit this trade. So I'm not going to give this one a lot of room. I do like the fact it was basing right over here around the 15-minute. I'm looking for it to come up to here's a 5 and here's our 2-minute fib lines. I like to see it come up to catch this 2/3. This is like a 14 pip zone. I'm only getting in at the top of the first 7 pips. Here's our 14. Here would be our 21 pips. So that right now it's going to find a little bit of a challenge to getting through this top 7 pip area. And if we look at the weekly, so I think I did draw, that was on the other chart, I drew a box. If we look at the 15-minute chart, and we look and see what our range was, this is Monday morning range from, there's actually a Sunday open. And this was Friday's range over here. So if we look at the range with this, here's Friday's high. Here's Friday's low. Slide this over, see where and you'll see that you'll probably find out that this thing is going to be it just poking its nose up in there. So right now it's did break Friday's high. I think I've got this right. Yeah, here's Friday. Of course, this was on the 10th. Here's Sunday. So it's coming in, the high's coming in first for the week on this one. And we'll see how this goes. So I'm going to leave this to take my profit just a little bit above, below this top third zone. Top third, middle third. There's the bottom third of the zone between the 15 and the 5.
Sorry.
It's a pretty big bark.
German Shepherd.
And so we wait.
Morning, guys.
Good morning, Eva.
Hey, good morning.
How's everyone doing today?
Well, we're doing just fine. It's a dandy day.
It is a dandy day.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a cold dandy day here.
There was a controller out of Newark Airport, and we used to call him. Every time we'd leave, they always, we say, "We're going to have a good flight," and then this controller would always go, "Have a dandy day." And so we used to call him. I mean, this guy was well known as we used to call him Dandy Day. He said, "Yeah, Dandy Day was." I said, he was dubbed Dandy Day.
His name wasn't Dave or something, was it?
I don't know. I have no idea what his name was, but he was known by all the flight crews as yeah, Dandy Day.
Oh boy.
Well, it's still struggling. You can see it's just hanging right in the middle of this channel. It can't quite get up to. I mean, it formed the channel with this last move after the alert. It confirmed the channel. Now the question is how slow is it? As long as it stays in this channel, I'm not going to exit the trade. And if it keeps getting up a little bit higher, I can keep moving my stop up to the bottom of the channel. But I'm going to keep my stop down below the bottom of the wedge line. Because right in here between the trend, which is this anchor hit, here's our third hit. This actually did confirm this trend line. And I'm going to confirm that with the blue one. So that one's confirmed. This one hasn't quite been confirmed yet. We have actually we can. If we take this thing back one more, here's the anchor, here's the hit, here's the third hit. This one's confirmed as well. So right now it's trending in an upward trend in a very, very gradual trend, but it's still, nonetheless, it is trending in the upward side. So as long as it stays in this channel, we did get the alert, we got the break, came back out, retested. As long as it stays in here, I'll stay in this trade. As it progresses along here, I can probably start moving my target up a little bit, and I can start moving my stop up a little bit. But right now I'm looking at this to be I want to keep my stop below this area right in here. We have, here's a candle, here's the wick, keep it from the body, keep it to, and from this area, I'd be looking at this to be my stop zone. As long as it stays, if it comes back in, retest this, I'm still okay. And I'll keep my stop somewhere down on the bottom side of, let's see how much, here's the entry. This is this, see, let's see, we put it back. Let's see. I'll kind of keep this stop zone pretty much between the 15-minute blue line and then where this bottom wedge is coming into. Actually, this is the 15-minute 62. Try and keep it below the 15-minute 62. Here was where it sort of tested it. It tested it here, tested it here. So I'm going to try and keep my stop below that. And we'll put it down here right around 12, 15, 21, the 21.53 area. Give ourselves a little bit of room. That's a 12 pip stop. And I said, as this thing progress, as this channel keeps on going, trending up, we can keep moving the stop up a little bit, and we keep moving our target up.
Al,
Yes.
question. You were saying that the magenta is your 15-minute 62.
Yeah, right here.
Right.
Yep.
But where's your 5 minutes? Isn't that your 5?
I said 15. I'm in 5. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I was just a little confused for a moment.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's still Monday morning.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. This is the 5 minute 62 here.
Okay.
And actually, I'll put the 15. Let me put the 15-minute on. Since we're looking at the 5-minute chart, we can see, keep an eye on where our 15-minute 62 is, and that's all the way down below here. I go to my 15-minute chart, move my 15-minute 62, which is where this is right here, and it's hanging right around this 2-minute fib line down here. I will not let it go down that low before I get out of this trade. But we can it helps us keep an eye on where these things are. And here's the 5-minute. I'll put that on. And this is our zone. And I do have my stop right here if it comes down into that area. And if it stops me out and keeps on going, I'll reverse it. If it comes down and goes back up again, I'll just I may look and maybe take another shot at it. But if it comes down and it closes inside this area, then the plan isn't working, and it's time to move on to the next trade. Right now, the plan is that it's going to stay within this channel and get and spike up to get my target. And if it breaks out of the channel, that means this channel was looking like this wedge would be breaking. There is a wedge here between the top channel. It is a converging channel. As you go further and further out, you can see it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter way out. So right now, it's just in that channel, and we're just giving it room to breathe. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Something else we want to look at? I guess we could look at the Aussie US while we're waiting here. I'll just put in a little alert on this 15-minute. If it comes back down here, it may give us another entry and maybe take another position, depending on how everything's looking at that time. But let me put an alert on this 15-minute. And I'll just create one. Okay, an alert on this. And we'll take a look at the Aussie US. It's pretty much the same type of picture that we have. We have the Friday zone, which is here's the Friday's high, Friday low. This is Sunday's open. It came back down, retested the low, and we have a little bit of a trend going on up to here's a pullback, basing, nice move up, came back, retesting, and now it's looking to break to the upside. Pretty much the same story as the dollar as the Euro US. And we also have right now the Aussie is stronger to the dollar, which gives me a little bit more confidence that this thing may actually break to the upside. Here's our high, here's our low. Actually, here's the open. Sunday's open. Here's Sunday's high. Here's Sunday's low. Overnight, London opened up, came back. Nice push up from London open. So we could take a look at this move right here, and we'll try to see if we can get some sort of a pattern off of that. Let me think here. If we draw a trend line from this low to where the basing is, here's our trend. Here's our Sunday's high. Here's our overnight high. Take another little trend line from that. Again, we have the same scenario as we do with the Euro US, where we have a upward sloping channel, and it's right about in the middle of the channel. Came down, it's retesting this 5-minute green line. Here's our 15-minute Fibonacci. Here's our 5-minute Fibonacci. Here's our 5, and here's the next 15 minutes. So it's inside the middle of this full range over here. If we put the thirds of, so basically, in fact, it's in this 5-minute range, which is 21 pips. We can break that down into thirds as well. And now we have our top channel, top third. Here's the bottom third, which is where it's spacing. If we can get it to get the close and some commitment on the other side of this 5-minute fib line, we may be able to get our 7 pips to get up into this zone. But here's our top third, and here's the bottom third, which is where it's spacing. You see where we did get the break, came back up, retested it, but it's not showing a lot of strength. It's not showing a lot of volatility. It's just sort of just kind of hanging in there and just. But I don't want to take this trade. I've got the other one. I took the other one, but I'm not totally convinced it's going to be a great trade either. It's very much range bound. The whole range of this channel is getting smaller and smaller as it goes up. Right now we have a range of basically 14 pip range, and we're trying to just grab 7 pips out of it. And it's still maintaining a basing right here off this 15-minute and the bottom, the 15-minute and the 7 pips below it. You can see where all the basing is right here. Lots of candles right here. Poked out, came back in, 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 poked out, came back in. Big strong move out, came back in, and now it's coming back in to retest this area. And there's a good chance what it might do now is come down and poke out of the bottom, in which case I'll be out of this trade. But you can see where the price is just, it's like a magnet. It keeps coming back into this area. It does seem to have a little bit more pressure to the upside. And if we look at our correlator chart here, we can also see with the different time frames. Euro and the US are at the bottom third on the 3-hour chart. They're at the Euro's at the bottom of the middle, and the US is still the weakest on the 30-minute. On the 15-minute, you see the Euro and the US are right in the middle between of all 8 pairs. It's right in the middle of all, and then on the 5-minute, all 8 pairs is still a little bit more strength to the dollar, but still nothing real strong. It's not a lot of range to it. I really like this one a little bit better, with the Aussie being in the upper third. On the 30-minute chart, Aussie's in the upper third, US is in the bottom third. That's actually a little bit better odds, I think, for the Aussie US, showing the Aussie strength. This would be, then I'd be looking at this as being a pullback. But again, it's not anything real conclusive. It's sort of like swinging the bat if you want, or you just sit on the sidelines and just wait for something a little bit more convincing.
When you were looking at the correlator, the yen seemed to be the one that was was the strongest consistently out of all of the.
That's a good observation. Yeah, right now we could, if we wanted to, we could, and we can. We maybe take a look at that where we have the yen's is stronger on the U.S. is relatively. You've got a 3-point spread on the U.S. yen, all except for the 5-minute. They're starting to consolidate. But over here on the higher time frames, you have a nice spread over here. You have a nice spread over here on the 30-minute, and you have your 3-point spread on your 15. So yeah, especially if you're just sort of looking at. So let's take a look at the U.S. yen here, just while we're looking around for things to be looking at. There's a 3-hour. Let's get back to a 15-minute. Put the 15-minute chart up. And let's take some of these things off of here. Let's just clean this one up. Take our fib lines off for right now. Take our moving averages off. And see what kind of a range it's been trading in. And so we're looking at the whole overnight range. Here's Sunday, Monday are kind of combined here. Here's Sunday's high. Here's the overnight low. We have 44 pips, so there's a lot of strength of the yen to the downside. Get on to a little bit higher time frame chart. And you see right now it's looking like it's starting to retest. Let's try to find out where our fib lines are. Put a 15-minute fib line on this. These are 15-minute fibs. It's retesting the 15-minute green. It came down and retested this zone. So if we put the 15-minute green line on this one, I do like starting with the 15s, and that way I can put that on the one chart, and then I can start breaking it down with the other charts. So here's 15-minute green, here's a 15-minute red, and you'll see that the range of this is probably going to be about, about 35 pips. So right now it is trading inside. Here's where you can see, here's where the basing is. So it's really basing. Let's see, here's our 15-minute red line.
Yeah.
15-minute red right there. So here's our 15-minute lines, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to put it on the 5 minutes so we can see where the ranges are in the 5-minute. What I'm curious to see is where is this basing right in here? And you can see where here's our, it's basing right between the 15-minute red and the 5-minute green, which is the top third. Here's our, this will be our next 15-minute.
Right.
We're looking really down here, and we're looking at if this something comes down, I'd be looking to come back and retest up in this area. Right now, there's nothing to take on this. Right now, it's coming down, bouncing off of this area. If anything, I'd be looking to maybe take it long back up to where it comes back into retest this area. 15-minute green, 5-minute green. Is that right? Let me see. Or is that the price?
No.
Yeah, 5-minute green. Yes, 5-minute green there. Five-minute red. These things trade in zones and ranges, and they usually 5-minute red.
Yeah, just trying to help you. I don't know if it's
that's
that
okay.
I appreciate
I appreciate the help. I appreciate the help. 5-minute red zone. make this thing, I'm going to change these patterns so I can see a little bit clearer when I put them all on together. So this is where it's bouncing. If we can come up and close above it, probably going to come up. This is the zone I'm looking at for it to retrace to. So if we get a reason to, it's coming down, it's retesting this low. We're in our extreme right now. So now I'm basically be looking at, this is on a 3-hour chart. Let's put it on a 15-minute chart. And we'll see if it can give us something to write home about. This strong move down, basing. So it's basing right in this zone. It's coming back up to retest. If it can break, we may get that opportunity to take a long up into this area. But we need some sort of a confirmation for that. Again, if we look at the overnight high and low, here's Friday. It did break Friday's low. Here's the overnight. And it is trending in a, let's see where it's trending. Let's go to higher time frame, see really where it's really trending. And it's really not trending anywhere. It's sort of, right? You can see it's really kind of going sideways. And right now, this is at the bottom of, here's this big range right here. Nice strong move up. Right now it's coming down to retest the origin of that. So I would be a little bit, it may still have some downward pressure. So I'm just going to say, we're going to wait until it gets done with a pullback and see where, if it may give us an alert down here.
Now, if it broke the 15-minute green, right?
It did break the 15-minute green, yes. Let me go back to our 15-minute chart.
No, it hasn't. I said if it.
Okay.
If it breaks the 15-minute green.
Mm-hmm.
See now, I thought the RSIs were more downward. I guess I was.
The RSIs they're pretty much right in they're kind of there's no real strong commitment right here. Right now the RSIs are they're in the lower part of the 40-60 range, which we talk about. Mm-hmm. It came right down to this 15-minute green and bounced. So it's found some buyers down in here. So right now it's basing inside this zone. It really based here, it came back down. This could be a head fake down right here. Mm-hmm. So I'm still looking at this area where's the overnight. This is where the Sunday overnight, we just got the alert on the horizontal 15-minute on the. And so basically, right now, I'd like to see it come back out of here with some degree of commitment, maybe come back in, retest line, and then start looking for it to come back up into here. But right now, I don't think it's ready. So we're just going to stay away from that one, but we'll keep an eye on it. And we did get the break of our 15-minute, it just tagged our 15-minute blue on the Euro-US, came down, tagged the bottom of the channel. Now I could have a couple choices here. I could take another position off of this bounce, keeping my stop where it is. That would bring my overall cost average down to probably right around into this area, which would give me an overall better position to take profit. Or I can just let it go and just see if it just keeps on ranging inside here. I still like the fact that it's trending up. I do kind of like taking these positions down here. In fact, let me see if I don't even know if it's going to let me do it. Let me see if it will let me do it. It's a retest. We'll see if it can break the wedge and see if it can close below. If it can close in here, I may want to be looking a little bit differently, but let's see where our trend lines, where our moving average, it came right down. It hasn't tested the 5-minute 62 yet. Our 15-minute 62 is way down here. Our moving averages are still relatively trending up. We don't have the cross of the green and the yellow. But the yellow is now starting to point down off of this candle right here. Up until then, it was still trending on up or flattening out. I still think there's still some, this would probably be a better entry to go long, but I still am not convinced it's not going to break out of the bottom here. I'll wait for a little bit more commitment off the bounce before I would take another position. And actually, by that time, it would be right about where the original position was. So I'm just going to hold my ground. This is the fourth hit of this trend. Here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a near hit. Here's anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a near hit. Here's a hit with a little bit of a breach. This is why a lot of times I like to see wait for the pullback into an area. Just wait for a little bit more of a pullback, as opposed to waiting to try and do the breakout. And even so, with the RSIs, they're still not real convincing down here. The 8 never did get down to the 75. The 3 period got down to the 75 area, but so it does show a little bit of increasing strength, but nothing real exciting. Matt, is there anything else any other pair that you were looking at that you want to show?
I was looking at Aussie CAD. I was looking at a couple crosses, but nothing's really materialized yet. I was actually just looking for a short on that one, but it's been slow. It would be a good word to describe its movement.
Keep in mind that we're at the last 2 weeks of December, when a lot of the institutions don't really trade these next 2 weeks. So I think you're going to see an awful lot of this type of price action these next 2 weeks until the beginning of the year. They're closing out their books. They're taking their profits. A lot of them have already taken their profits, and they're just getting themselves positioned for next year. And plus a lot of them are taking vacations. They're taking for the Christmas holidays, and so to have there will be price action and there will be movement, but a lot of people will just take these next 2 weeks to close out their books and reevaluate the results evaluate the results for the year, and just start looking to get set up fresh for the next year. So, and this, so you may be seeing a lot of this type of price action for the next couple of weeks.
A lot of the moves are going to be very subdued.
We'll still keep on having these little sessions in the mornings for the next couple of weeks, and just keep on. So nothing else that helps to confirm our positions on what we're doing. I said I may take some trades just to show you some price action to take the trades, but I'm not going to be real aggressive with some of this stuff. A lot of what I'm showing here is just where you would be taking the trades, under what conditions, why you'd be taking it, and just showing you the results of it. Again, it's not that I'm taking these live myself. This room is for demonstration purposes of where to take trades with price action, and it gives you a chance to see how they hold out, how it performs.
We could be getting somewhere.
And basically why I kind of like taking on these pullbacks where it's retesting this area as opposed to trying to take it on the breakouts.
You have a nice separate. I'm sorry.
In fact, the fact we had it's a strong move up there. This is where they were taking a lot of stops. the strong candle people buy up here. Then they go and they take the stops, retest the bottom zone, and then they start driving back up again. So they got everybody in, took their stops, got them in, say, oh, they maybe reverse position, put their stop up here, and now it's coming up to retest the top. But you see, it's just maintaining this channel right in here. And it may not really be enough to, so I'm just going to still stay in this trade until it, but you can see it's coming up and it's just looking for it to retest the, I still want to keep my target, but it hasn't broken the high here, the base of these candles right here. You can see it went right up to the top, to the body of this red candle, and it just stopped. So basically it's finding some buyers or some sellers up in here, or lack of buyers, and it's finding some buyers or lack of sellers down here. So right now our zone is really the bodies of these candles. You can see it has a low, here's a higher low. You can probably move this thing up to make the box up in that way. I'll probably move my stop up a little bit closer. Keep it outside the wedge. But this way, I've just decreased my risk level by about 3 pips. I'm seeing a little bit of a W right in here. So here's actually, there's an M and a W. I'll draw these out here for you. With our harmonics, here was the high, here is the low, here is the pullback. You can see that was about 68% pullback, comes back down, retested. There's the 81% of the big move, and now it's coming up to retest. And there's our harmonic pattern. Let's put this back to say like 88%, which is right about in there. So we have this strong move down, pulled back, retraced 68%, went down, retraced 81% of this whole move from X to A to the C. That was an 81% retracement. Came back up. Here's the high. Came up 86% of this move. And so right now it's kind of in between. We'll see what happens. So there's a little bit of a high. Here's a lower high. Here's a low. Here's a higher low. And we're going to see if it can come up here and break. And if you look where this D level is, if you put the D right over here across where the top of this wick is, that's an 88% retracement. But here's your W.
Well, I just learned a new thing. I didn't realize that the dotted line between X and D, and the same thing when you have A and C, that those are the retracement.
Yeah, these are retracement values.
I've been out to lunch.
Yeah, but which is nice about this what I call this. Well, I don't know what they actually call this. It was an XABCD pattern, but it's really, this is what we use when you draw the harmonics. We have a strong move down, you have a retracement of the AAB move, and then you have the D, which is up here, which is usually what your target's going to be. And when you get, then I'll draw these trend lines. Let me take this one off. Then we'll draw these trends from, we have the AC. This is almost like your wave 1, wave 2, and now we're looking at the wave 3 coming up here, where wave 3 should be, which is your CD move, should be longer than your AB move.
Right.
And if you do it from the Elliott wave theory, this would be your wave 1. Here's your wave 2. Wave 3 is going to be up here somewhere, which is pretty much right where you can see that 1.46 is longer than that. This is your C move. Here's your pullback to your wave 4, and then your wave 5 is going to be up here. But when you measure this D move, which is right here, you can see that from the C to the D, it's a 1.34% retracement, which is your greater than your 1-to-1.
Right.
That's where the wave, and like I said, wave 3 cannot be shorter than wave 0-1.
It's so funny. It's like, when sometimes just something just clicks. That's the first time I put that together. And how many times do we do this? Oh my goodness.
And you see like your XA move, this is the 87%, where the D is, is 88, right now it's at 88% of the retracement of the, so it's retraced 88% when it gets up to this trend line.
Mm.
Actually, I put down to where the trend line actually is.
Right.
This XA move, this where it is right now has retraced 73% of the XA move.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow.
This is where you like to try and take the trades. When you get the strong move down, you get the pullback, and you get the retest of this. And if this C can stay above the A, this is the area where you really like to try and take the trade. And then you've got this whole move here where your target is up here.
Right. Right. And then if you would have taken another position on this trade, like we were thinking about,
then this average would have been down here someplace.
Yeah.
Now, it may not be a bad place to take some profits because right now you're seeing it hasn't closed above the X.
Right.
But I'm going to still maintain the channel. Now, like I said, as we see, the channel is getting higher, which means my target can actually get higher. And if I look to see where my Fibonacci's are, we can see I've got the Fibonacci line right here where my target is. Yes, I think I do. We have the 5 minute. Next, these are the, see, there's 5 minute green. This is a 15 minute. These are probably two period moving. See, I think these are probably the 2 periods, maybe. No, those would be the 5s. Those would be the 5 minute here. 5 minute ranges, I think. Let me double check this. It's about ready to take my target here. Oh, I know, I didn't turn them on here. So this is we're on a Fibonacci. I'll put it back on the 5 minute. Here's a 5 minute green. That's always right here. And in between the 5 minute green, we put it on to 2 minutes. We should have our 2 minute lines.
Took your profits, that's good.
Which is, here's a 2 minute line, here's a 2 minute line. Like I said, you're going to have 3 different lines in between the 15, which 15, 5, and 2 are all the same line. And we have the 5 minute, 2 minute ranges, and then here's our 5 minute green. And we just see where we just made our profit. We just took our trade off. There's a winning trade. And I can draw this. We can draw this as the. If you can use these trend lines, because really what you're looking at when you start seeing these patterns, you're going to see that these harmonic patterns are pretty much being drawn off the big moves that are bouncing off of Fibonacci's. And then when you draw the trend line, you can see where the target, like the D target, would have been pretty much right in this area. Probably right about in here was probably where the target would have been if you had like the harmonic tool that I have that will plot these for me. I often find out that these D and C moves are right on Fibonacci lines as for the target. But you can use this as a trend line just to say, okay, if the trend continues, here's my trend from the XA, And so here would be the target. Now it made the target, it broke, which is the trend line. And you can also see where now it's bouncing off the 5 minute and it's coming down into, let me see if I have my 2 minute zones on here. Yep, it's coming into the 2 minute. So this is probably a 7 pip zone right in here. These are 7 pips. And now before this thing reverses, says it made the D. Now we can say, whenever you talk about W's, a lot of times the W's are the beginning of a uptrend and then the M. Well, this last leg of the W is really the first leg of an M. So if I go and I slide this over, and now I can say, okay, so here is the harmonic. From here's the first leg of the M, high, comes back up, retraces. Let's say it's going to retrace 61.8% or 50%. Then we'd be looking at to come back up, form our C, which might be the trend line, or just below the trend line, say maybe like right here, and then come back down here and retest this trend line. This is just, but here's your M. Comes up, comes back down. That's why a lot of times what we see is that we get whipsawed because, oh, it's coming down, but really it's forming this pattern. It brings them up, comes back down, gives your B, comes back up, retests the A, comes back up, and then once you get that test, and here's your projection of your D, and here's your XA, as it comes back up, and the B may be over here like this, it comes back up, forms your C. Well, now here is your trend line from the AB, comes up, forms a C, and then once it breaks wherever this happens to be, when it breaks that, then it's looking for heading out for the D. Or it may come up and you look at the XB area when it gets up to the top at the C. When price gets up here, retests this, then when it breaks this, then you've got this all moved down. But here's your M. I'll be looking at 61% retracement, usually 50 to 61% retracement. Which will take us right there. This is right here is our 50% retracement. If I draw across from here, here's our 50%. Maybe a little bit lower here still. Right now it's at 47% retracement. Goes a little bit lower. If it gets down to 50%, maybe I'll take another position to see if it comes up and forms our upper part of our M, which is going to be right about where the trend line. This broke the trend line. It may come up here and retest the trend. Lower C, then to come back down and retest the X at 81%. So this could be our new harmonic. First leg of the M comes back in. Here's the middle of the M, second hump of the M, and then comes back down. You start looking at these patterns and see if you can project what the pattern may look like. And if it starts following that pattern, you have a fairly good chance of maybe winning that trade. Take a look at it on the 1 minute chart. Oops, wrong one. Where is it here? I lost my little box here. That's the one I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Go to our 1 minute chart. We'll expand this out. You can see the pattern. Here's our projected B. Could be down here at 61.8. Usually 50% retracement, 61.8% retracement, which would be right about in there. Comes back up, probably retest the trend line. That got broken here just a little bit, retest that. And it comes back down here and retests 50-minute Fibonacci, which is just above the X or right at the X. Pull this over, snap it to that. There's 57% retracement. Still may come lower. And if I use this, this is the box that we drew for the retracement area. Let's see where that is. That's right here. That's the 70%. We're at our 9 o'clock. We're inside our 9 o'clock to 9:30 hour. This was the pre-9 o'clock move right here. Can everybody see the M?
Yes.
They were still inside our channel,
Mhm.
which is this blue line here, and I may move that.
Like the W was a little clearer on the 5 minute for me. You know, you can kind of see it with the one, but I just think the
yeah,
it's a little clearer on the 5, the W.
Well, yeah, and that's because it's already been formed for starters.
Right.
What's interesting is as you get into these higher time frames, the M's and W's are still there. You just don't see them as clearly because you're only looking at maybe the 1 or 2 candles to form the peaks and the. But I did like the fact it was in that channel. It came up, made my target, broke the channel. Again, I was coming back to retest the bottom of it. I took that trend line off, didn't I? I did. I think we had the trend line from high to low.
I think we did it at the
I think it was at this point here. I think is where I had this originally.
Yeah. I believe so. Because we took that longer.
That's right. Because here was the here's the anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the near hit. Here's the test.
Right.
So this makes the trend line. It's still in this. It's still basically inside this channel. There's a low head fake up here. And now, right now, we're at 68%. Let's see how the Aussie US was doing here. Still have strength of the Aussie. Still in the channel. Here's our original. Here's the candle that generated the wedge. Here's the upper third. And actually where this candle is, this is pretty much forming the bottom third. And right now it's still in the middle. Not seeing a lot of excitement of trying to retest this area or retest this. It does have a slight upward trend. So again, I'd be looking more for it to come back down into this area to give me a bounce off of the bottom of this channel to take it long. We really don't have I don't think we have the 5-minute confirmation off the 5-minute candle. Here was the wedge alert. Here's pretty much the candle before the alert right here. Actually, here was the 5-minute break, second candle. You could have probably tried taking in right here off of this, and you have still taken a little bit of heat coming back into this area. See, it came back down, it bounced off of this price point. You would have wanted to be getting in either like in here on this pullback. I would not want to be taking it long now at this point. And we did have a little bit of a channel here down below here. So now this was they called it a descending wedge from the overnight. Let's see here. See where our range breaks are. And a session break there. Here's the overnight high. Here's the overnight low. It said it was a descending wedge, so that would be looking at it from this point to here. So drawing the triangle from up here. Down to here. Here's the alert. Take the high of the alert. Take the low before the alert. Here's a fake out. This was the range of the candle before the alert. Here's a breakout. And here would be the second 5-minute candle. If you want 5-minute candles or you want 1-minute candles, that's your choice. But with this candle right here on the 1-minute candle, it broke out, came back into the wedge. It came back pretty deep into the wedge actually, and actually came out the bottom. So you've had a head fake here, you've had a head fake here, and then it went in and started taking off. Let's see if our euro's doing anything more. Still hanging in here. I don't think we've had any more alerts, have we?
No, we have not.
Nope, nothing.
But they were saying on the news this morning that there was a Google issue. So I don't know if that has anything to interfere with our alerts or not.
Oh. A Google issue.
I don't know too much that because over the weekend Google got hacked and somebody else did.
That Google, like the company Google, got hacked?
Yeah, like their servers to like the Treasury Department and something else.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the news announcements here. Let's see what kind of news we have here.
Crazy.
Here's Monday, December. Okay, we don't really see, I'm not seeing any major news here. Let's check out the news for the week, see if there's any days we need to be aware of here. Here's Tuesday, nothing real major on Tuesday. This is Wednesday, lots of red folders on Wednesday, so you gotta be careful. We gotta be careful on Wednesday. A lot of Euro news coming out on Wednesday. OPEC meetings, and a lot of Euro, Germany flash manufacturing, all that sort of stuff. Not that I know what it means, but the red folders.
Yeah, I was just going to ask what's flash. I never really.
So how about, let's see, how about Thursday? A lot of red folders on Thursday as well. So keep those in mind for Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then back to Friday seems like a normal day again. Let's see, we have a British yen alert on the arrow. Let's take a look at see what British yen's doing. Oh my. That's looking to go short. One of Eva's favorite currencies is the British.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't.
Two of them together.
I don't think I want to take this thing short at this point in time. It's getting too close to where there is some. Look at the higher time frame on this one.
Has room, it looks like.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's got room down here, but it's got right here is some basing. So it's
Yeah.
let's see here. Let's take a look at this. Let's put this up on a higher time frame, see where our 15-minute trends are. 15-minute lines. Ooh, that's interesting. This, of course, this is on a 3-hour chart. So here is the Friday's range. Here's the basing right in here. So I kind of like this area right in here for it to be like the magnet area for it to come back into, right into this area. So it's kind of this is 15-minute. So let's mark these 15-minute ranges. 15-minute blue, I believe this was.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the 15-minute green.
Who has the birds? Is that
Not
you,
me.
Al? Do you have birds singing?
They're outside my window. I have
Oh,
two
they're
nests.
outside your window. How nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Haven't heard birds for weeks.
That's good. It's because you're living with Nanook of the North.
I live in Santa's Village.
Let's see where the hourly charts, hourly ranges are on this. See, here's an hourly red right here, which is the 15-minute blue. These are an hourly blue. And let's see, so here's an hourly green. Let me put that in there. It does have room to the downside. If it can break through this region right in here, it has room to the downside. Now the question is, how many pips does it have before it gets, say, in the middle of this range here? If we put let's see, we said these are 15-minute ranges. So just stay with that for right now. And I'm going to put a 5-minute range in between. So so here would be is like, how much room do we have from where it is right now to the top of this first zone right in here, or say to the red line. That's got 19 pips. You could get your 20 pips out of that, taking it short. Let's see where the British I should talk in British yen. Let's see where the strength of that is. Looks like this thing looks like it's kind of snaking to the short side. I think that's be an okay take that trade short.
So now, Al, if it breaks below the blue, the 15-minute, it could conceivably go right down to the bottom of that huge green candle.
I think it's very right. The fact that if you look at this and you see where this is the last wick and it hits the body, and right now there's nothing till you get down to this little box right in here. Now that's on look at that. That's on a 3-minute chart. So let's mark that. We'll mark this area. Here's a little doji actually. So we're going to mark this area. This would be a potential target area.
Now, would you consider putting like a sell stop just below the blue line? Maybe?
Well, possibly. Let me take a look and see what it looks like on the 15-minute chart. Let's move this back over so it's a little closer to where our price is. I would say, yeah, because you got strong move up, came back down, basing, poked out, came back in, took out. Now it's coming back in to retest this area. But of this area to retest, here's the, you see the wicks here on the bottom third?
Yeah.
So I kind of like this as a potential bounce point. I do like that as a potential entry to come back up and retest this area. The big question right now is when this thing, if we draw this as a harmonic. Now here's something to take a look at. Here's strong move up. Here's the M coming back down. Now here's our W, down, up, down. So this is the W pattern. This thing is all one straight big 50. This was an announcement of some sort. Look at the size of this candle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the origin of that candle. So, but this is where it came up and it based in right in here. So this area right in here is a zone of question. What's it going to do when it gets down into this area? Now you can take some throw some darts at it and see if you can hit something. But what is the range of this? So right now the range between this blue and this here. Now this is on a British. You've got 34 pips. My suspicion is going to be it's going to overshoot this 15-minute green, probably overshoot it either 2 levels, may come in and retest it, but you may actually have this may actually end up being when we talk about these harmonics. Here's the low of the harmonic, here's the low, here's the high. Now we're going to see how far it's going to pull back. Now you can also be looking at this thing, and from a 15-minute standpoint, I think this is probably pretty decent. I don't know if we're going to get a harmonic out of this thing or not. Here's our X. Actually, I can move the X. Since this we're on a 15-minute chart, we can move it to, this is the last major pullback. So let's take it right about to there. Here's the high. Here's a pullback, 73% pullback, which is pretty deep all in all. We'll see if it comes down. If it comes all the way down to here, then we're going to be looking at a different harmonic. We may be looking at this move here, from here to here. Actually, I might like this one a little bit better. There's a 40. So I'm going to project this one right here. This is the bottom. This could come down into the zone 2/3 of the way in, give us a bounce, then probably come back up, maybe retest this area, and then maybe come back down and do one of these. So right now I'd be looking at a bounce down here as opposed to being 8. Now from when we got the alert, when we got we got this the indicator alert from the aerial. It had, you're looking at 40 pip stop, 20 pip target. You probably could have gotten the 20 pip target down here, although we don't know that for sure just yet. This would be one that'd be kind of, this would be somewhat of an iffy trade for me to take off of that alert system.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to wait to see if it breaches that 15-minute fib line.
Yeah.
Is below it.
Yeah, I would like to see. I would probably like to see it bounce a little bit and maybe come back up and maybe retest one of these things, and then come back down. I'm sort of expecting this could be a bounce off of this area.
Mm-hmm. My two favorite currencies.
Yeah.
They just meshed them together for you.
I know.
Oh yeah, good old pound yen.
Yeah.
I got GBP AUD that I was observing, but I'm just learning how it moves, kind of like the DNA of it, because it moves very differently than, say, Euro US or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have taken this where if I wouldn't have hesitated, it would have been 60 pips. So I had reason to get in, but I didn't. I'm not going to swing the bat in a place that I'm not comfortable with yet.
So, is there any news on Brexit again? Did I hear something? Desam saying something about Brexit news?
Yeah, this week.
That's what made this thing fly up. Every time there's Brexit news, the British pound increases in strength like there's nobody's business. And
yeah, well, they stopped talks, but then they were going to restart them. Like they weren't quitting on it. I think yesterday was the date to have it done by.
Something like that.
And they decided to continue talks.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what goes on. Anytime somebody breathes the word Brexit, regardless of anything, the British pound goes up in strength like crazy, which is the reason why I am so reluctant to trade it anymore, at least until all this nonsense with Brexit is over. And that would explain that candle.
Sure.
And
But I do see that there's going to be some buyers back in here to put it back up again, especially with this 55. So even like a 61.8 retracement off of this is going to be right there, which is right at the 15-minute. Gee, imagine that, picking right at the 15-minute blue fib line. How'd that happen?
There's no such thing.
Magic.
I have a question. No, you people.
And I will try to have an answer.
No questions here.
Now, like if we're looking at like, okay, say the 61 or even a 50% retracement, right?
Yeah.
And this is like a target area, right? The yellow box. If we're normally just going for 7 pips, would it be foolish to enter a trade in the yellow box, like after you pass the 15-minute green, to just get your 7 pips? Or is that just being
after it passes the now okay, I'm going to ask you a question before I answer.
Excuse my language.
Are you going to wait for a close or a bounce off the 15-minute green?
No, I was looking at like where the red candle was. Like I'm saying, I'm
This
sitting
one
here
here.
and I'm saying why
This one right here.
Yes.
Okay.
And when it was there, I was like, when it just closed, I was like, why not like just take 7 pips from there? Because we're looking at going to the yellow box. So that's what I was thinking of.
Well, let's see here. No, we're also talking about. No, let's just see what the range is on these.
Or is that just plain foolish?
Well, no, I don't think it's foolish at all. Actually, I think what's probably a good technique in this particular case. I think we know we have some bounces. We know that there were some buyers in this where this yellow box is. In this, but in this range, we have. From here to here, we got 30 pips. So we know that these are probably, okay, for this particular pair, we're looking at 12 pips in between each of these little zones. Okay.
Yes.
So if you're looking at, now we're on a 15-minute chart, keep that in mind. So we're knowing that we've got 12 pips in between all of these up here just as well. If you're looking at this, you're going to get a bounce off of here. You have a couple choices. On a 15-minute chart, you want it to just come in. If it bounces and comes back and closes, do you want to just put a target in here and say, okay, if it comes into the box, I'm going to take it along because I'm going to expect to bounce back up to the next. And so that would not be foolish. I think that's really, but you also know that where are you looking for it to start losing momentum? Now we're also down here. I would prefer to see if this thing's going to, I mean, this is be an excellent entry right now, and you could get your 7 pips. Mm-hmm. But you don't know if this thing comes down and closes inside this, it may keep you going, and now you're going to be looking at 7 pip or 12 pips negative.
Right.
24 pips negative, because you don't know where it's going to stop. I'd like to see it bounce and close and see if it can close above. This is where I like going to the lower time frames. If you go to your 5-minute chart, and you see that the 5-minute chart bounced, came back up 12 pips.
Well, that's still 15.
Oh, that's still 15. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Catch.
But again, you see it came up, bounced. Now you've got a blue candle. So at this point, you can say, yeah, that was a pretty good entry right in here, because on the high, because you know that from the big move that we had way back where that big candle was, it found some buyers here. So this would actually be a fairly safe bet, especially if you got a 5-minute candle closed and you 1 minute came back down here. Even the 1 minute couldn't close in there. I would say if you're looking to try to take that bounce, I'd be looking at this 1 minute and say, okay, did the 1 minute close? It came back, it found buyers, okay? To take it, to swing the bat and look, figuring that maybe you will be able to catch this. But to take this thing short, I mean, like I said, we got the alert, but it also had this big zone down here that you knew it had to get through. It may be a weak zone, and I don't doubt that it is a weak zone, but you also have to expect that there's going to be a bounce off of that.
Okay.
But to answer your question, I don't think it'd be foolish if it gets into here and you get a bounce and close. When this candle closed red, now you've got a blue candle. Now if it comes back down again, this red here, this is going to be the test. Now this brings up a really good point. When you have a pivot low, you have a higher on each. Here's your pivot low. This red candle where it bounced into it. You have a higher close on the left side of it, and you have a higher close on the right side. This is what some people would call a fractal low. I call it just a pivot low. You've got a three candle with a low in the middle and 2 higher lows on either side of it. I think the safer bet at this point would be to maybe take a buy stop above this blue candle. Let me just try this to show you how this may work.
Above the close of that candle, or just the wick of the candle?
A buy stop above the close of this red candle, this blue candle right here. And the price on that is like 38.70. So let's see what's the spread on this thing? See, we've got a 3-point spread on this. That's a pretty significant spread.
Well,
but if you take a buy stop above 38.70, I don't know if I can get to this, sir. So I've got to go all the way up here to 38.72, 73. Where the heck is it?
You passed 38.70.
Did I pass it?
Yeah.
Yep, you did.
I'm like, where's it going?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Asking. Okay, yeah. So I could take a buy stop and say 38.70. I'll just try that. See where this is.
No, why?
I would prefer to see these RSIs flipping over.
But Christine, you have to remember too is that your trading plan is personal to you. So if something is fitting your criteria, go for it. If it's not fitting your criteria, don't. I mean, I'm with you that I probably would have taken a 7 pip short on that because it fit into everything that I trade. I just don't happen to like these currencies.
You have taken a short. You have taken a short on this bounce up here.
No, I would have taken it short before the bounce. If I was expecting it to bounce down in there, I would have taken it short up above. Look at all those 5-minute candles. And on the 15, there's like 5 short red candles.
So where would you?
Minute.
Well, what I'm hearing you saying that you have taken it short down here as opposed to up here.
No, I would have taken it up higher. I would have taken it short
You've
higher.
taken it short up here.
Sure. Yeah. If my expectation after doing all my analytics and everything else like that and all my indicators and everything fit my plan, that I expected it to go down at least another 7 pips, I would have taken it short for 7 pips. I wouldn't have gone for the big long movement. And then also what I was talking about before, I would have put a sell stop below the blue fib line. That if it hit, great, then it's going to go. If it doesn't hit, well, nothing gained, nothing lost.
Okay, so here's my question to you: is we got the alert at the?
Who got an alert? Because I didn't get an alert.
We as Airis did not get an alert.
Oh, okay.
Reason why we came this up at all was because the Aero alert indicator system said to go short right there. Oh, let me go. Said to go short right here. So basically, we're making this up. Nobody's looking at this thing yet, and it's set to go short on. Let me see where the candle was that this thing went short on. British yen.
Does it go on? Does it on the 15-minute chart or the 5-minute that the arrow works?
It's on the 15. So it was been on the 15-minute chart. The third candle from where it is right now. So on the 15-minute chart, it would have gone short. Let me put it on here. It's set to go short on this candle right here. Now the question is, would you take this short? Here's my question. Would you take it short? When you got the alert on this candle, would you take it on this candle right here?
Because I don't know how to use arrow, I can't answer that the way you want me to.
Well, no. What I'm asking you is that from your trading criteria, would you take that short? It doesn't matter what arrow did. I mean, arrow just brought you to the chart.
But
and now you're looking at the chart. But
yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
So let me tell you.
Right.
So that where it's basing above that is what I would use.
What you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, I'm going to take it short when it gets back up here.
No, she would have already been in it.
I would have already been in and out long before the arrow thing.
No, you're not going to be in it yet because you didn't even look at the chart until this candle right here.
No, but she was looking at it already.
No, I'm looking at it. So
that's what you meant out.
So I would be looking at that basing is where I'd be taking my information from. And okay, the box that you have drawn there, I would draw a box similar to that one.
Uh-huh.
And then I would see, then from here, I'd be looking on the 5-minute with that box on the 15. So if you flip back to your 5-minute chart, please. Okay, so then where I would take it is not where your arrow is, but the candle before your arrow is pointing to.
And what I'm saying is that you're not even looking at the chart until you got the alert, and you got the alert on the candle, which means you weren't even looking. I'm just saying, you're theoretically speaking for this discussion, you weren't even looking.
If I don't have arrow, which I don't. I'm saying as my criteria, I would have taken that based on what I'm just telling you right now. So I can't base it on arrow because I've never used arrow. So I'm just talking about trading in general. If I was looking, for example, for a wedge formation and I wanted to get into a trade and I found this pair, this is where I would take it. So the candle before that arrow, which is right beside it there to its left, I would have taken it. I don't know what that price is right there because 138, say, let's call it 139. I would have taken it there. And then the pips from it down to the top of the yellow box probably would have been my target, which again, you would have to do the ruler thing on your chart because I don't No.
Yeah, I think you're missing the point of my question.
But am I missing the point of Christine's question?
I'm not sure what Christine's question was. I'm just talking about my question.
Yeah. So if starting at the time where the arrow is, would you potentially take a trade with your trading plan and forget
at that point? Let's say yes, I would, because it's close enough to where I would have gotten in without the arrow.
Thank you. That's my question, because you had this. You know the zone was here. You know the zone's here. You got the arrow, and you're looking at a potential. I mean, the basic premise of the arrow alert system is 40 pip stop, 20 pip target. What have you taken? When you got this alert, what have you taken the trade on this candle, 15-minute candle, when the 15-minute candle closed? Pretty much, and it was just right at 20 pips to this area.
Well, so then let me ask you this question with the arrow. Are you supposed to take the trade as soon as it tells you to? Like, I don't know, because that's what I'm saying. I've never used it, so I can't.
Within 15 minutes.
It generates it says the British yen trade. I have an arrow, and when that arrow developed, the alert came in, and the theory is that you take it at the close of that 15-minute candle.
Okay, so how many pips is it? From
the target is generally 20.
Okay, what if I want my target to be 7? Would I have gotten it?
Well, if your target's 7, then you probably would have. So
Which
here was
comes back to Christine's question.
Here's the 9 o'clock. So it. Let me see. Did it close at the what candle did it close at? It closed. Let me go on a 15-minute chart here.
So now, are you supposed to wait for a 15-minute close? Like, I don't know what the rules with arrow.
The rules are.
But the rules of me drawing a box.
I'm telling you what the rules are. It's a 15-minute chart. You get the arrow. When the candle that arrow is generated on, you take it right here.
And that's the rules for everybody, or do you do your own rules?
Well, that's the basic rules.
Okay.
Now you can do what you want, but that's the basic philosophy of the alerting system. Is you get the candle close, you take it right here at the open of that candle, and you go for 20 pips. Now the question is, at this particular, we're talking. This is what the theory is. Now you have basically 9 pips to here, but you also have a pretty deep zone. Would you take? My question to you is, and maybe a better question to Matt. Would you take this trade, Matt?
Depends on your
As long as there's the red zone up here, if that's a light green zone, I would take it.
This one right here.
Yeah.
That is a. Let's see what's this is a 5. This is a 5-minute green zone. I think that's a 5-minute green zone.
Yeah. I would take it. I'm actually looking for a sell on GBP AUD. Just full disclosure.
For that same GBP AUD.
Yeah. Similar, but not quite the same.
So I was asking the question because I didn't even know that there was an arrow alert. I was just looking at it, but then when I saw the spread, I was like, no.
Yeah, because it's a cross, pips. Right?
Yeah, we got we've got about 3 pip spread on this pair.
Right, which is ridiculous. I mean, for me, on my plan, would be foolish to take 7 pips on that spread.
Right, you would be looking for a bigger target. If you're going to take that spread, you need to have a bigger target.
Most people that are trading this system and they're trading it successfully are running a 40 pip stop loss, a 20 pip take profit, and they're winning
off of
anywhere from 75 to 80% of their trades.
No, Matt. I understand what you're saying, Matt, as far as like for the arrow system, but
yeah.
I hadn't even known that there was even an arrow alert. So I was just looking at the premise of when we were trying to do the harmonics and then getting into where the past, where X was in relation to where RB was, like I was looking at that, and then I saw the spread and I was like, no, forget about it.
I get you. Okay.
Yeah. So that's that's why when we got to this pair, I just thought we were going at it. Obviously I didn't hear right.
Yeah.
From I thought maybe it was from the correlations or whatever, and
well, I think to answer your original question is that I would have not had a problem taking it for 7 pips off a bounce off of here.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I probably would have been hesitant to take it with the arrow system, knowing that I had to get through this zone in order to get I had to be deep into the zone in order to get my 20 pips. So this would have been one of those arrow trades that I would have passed on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think it could potentially go all the way down here and get the 20 pips? Yeah, I think it could. Would it do that before it comes back and stops me out with 40 pips? I'm not sure. Right. So this would be one I probably would have passed on because it's so close to the zone. Mm-hmm. And I guess that was just my point of the discussion. The reason why I pulled this chart up in the first place is because we had that alert off of this, and I was wanting to draw this out to see how it was coming out, how the harmonic and the wave action was showing the potential of this particular pair, this trade, and also having to keep in consideration what the spread is. And that was all. It was just something for another point of discussion while we were waiting around for trades to develop here. And on that note, it's 9:45, and it's not time to wrap this thing up. Any other questions before we go? And if not, we will see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for coming in. We'll talk to you later.
All right, take care, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.